Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about Sun square moon in Synastry. And this has been requested a lot, and that doesn't surprise me because all of the sun moon aspects in Synastry, they feel like a big deal because we have, two out of the big three, right? The sun and moon, our masculine and our feminine energies, or at least a part of them, meeting in aspect. So, the square aspect, though, is an aspect of tension and frustration and major differences. So, there is with the square a lot of attraction and kind of a feeling of like a buzz, like it's a little bit of a restless energy. It can be even a bit of like nervousness because we sense that we're relating to this person who is just maybe kind of like an alien in some ways. But it doesn't mean that we have any sort of negative feeling towards them, at least not at the beginning. So, with the sun person, the sun person is definitely going in a direction in their life, like as far as their purpose goes, and as far as like what they need to feel confident and seen and like their light shining. So their outer, sun sign energy is very much at odds with the moon person's emotional nature and what they need to feel emotionally safe, secure, and also like where they're coming from, even like their upbringing or even like past lives or like their unconscious emotional energy that's just very like instinctual. So what manifests with that is that the moon person can definitely react very emotionally to the sun. But what I've found is it's kind of like 50-50. Half the time the moon person will feel like really intrigued and excited and attracted to the sun person, and then the other half of the time they're like, get me away from them. They're insensitive. They're, focused on all of these things that don't matter. Like that's something we can find with this square, is that like the other person is focusing their life and attention on things that are just so irrelevant, like definitely not things that we hold near and dear, like to our moon sign, like our emotional needs and like what we feel like is significant, and like for the sun sign person, like what we feel like it's important to like achieve in life and how to feel like a worthy individual, like how to feel like confident and successful, is like we're just not agreeing on certain things. But now, usually, you're not going to see this aspect just in isolation. And what I mean by that is that, like, if you have this aspect in synastry, likely the sun person's sun is making another aspect that's potentially harmonious with the moon person's chart. Or the moon person's moon is making another aspect to the sun person's chart in some positive way. And that can really alleviate a lot of the tension of this because, nobody's just born with like a perfect natal chart that like has no squares or no difficulties, right? So it's quite likely that, we have this square in synastry, but we have other aspects between either of those planets that are, where we're in more agreement. So you kind of have to look at the rest of the chart with this one, like if it's going to be worth it to coexist with these differences. And like if the rest of the synastry shows really difficult aspects and like there's not a lot of harmony or compatibility, then this can just be unbearable. But if the rest of the synastry is quite strong and there's other really good compatibilities, this can be more minor. So I do think it's important with this one to really look at everything else, because it's never just existing in isolation. So other manifestations of this energy, it does carry the same feeling of significance, like I said, with the other sun moon aspects, where when you have a sun moon aspect with someone, even the square that is like the most tense aspect really, or definitely one of them, there's still this feeling of like this person is meant to play some big role in your life. Like the feeling of like weightedness, like that this is something important, like is really strong with any sun moon aspect. But the square is quite like forcibly felt because it's an aspect of tension. So we really do feel attracted to each other. We really do feel like, yeah, like we're attracted because we're different, right? And like maybe this special person will teach us things that we might want to know. Now, mutable signs are going to be more likely to want to learn from these differences than fixed signs. You have to look at the signs involved because there's some people that are less open to new experiences, right? And there's some people that are more open to new experiences. So you want to look at that with this aspect. But yeah, that difference that we do have, it can be attractive and it can be even a bit romantic if we're that kind of person that likes a sort of, yeah, different person to relate with. So, another thing about this aspect is part of the tension can be seen in the home life. So, if you do live with someone with this aspect, it can show that there's a conflict in that. Specifically for the moon person, they can feel like the sun person's rhythm or flow, or how they like their physical energy as well, is conflicting with how the moon person sets up like a safe and secure home for them. So there can be some tension there, some difficulty there. Another way that it could manifest too is like the sun person's career, or like, you know, their outer success. Like the sun person could appear to the moon person as being overly focused on like career, or, you know, these outer things that the moon person feels like are like cold, or just like not mattering to them, not mattering to their heart. And so that's where some disagreements can come. So you could see it being like that there's a disagreement on like work-life balance when we have sun square moon and synastry. Is like, yeah, usually it's going to be the sun person who is more focused on like these outer things, and the moon person is more like, you know, I want you home, or I want to be emotionally connected to you, and all you care about is work, or something like that. So there can be a conflict on that realm as well. And it could be reversed, like if we're talking someone with a moon in Capricorn or something, right? Then it could be like the moon person is working all the time, but like usually as a rule, the moon person is going to be the one emotionally reacting, and the sun person tries to find a solution for the moon's emotional reaction with like something that just doesn't line up with the moon. It doesn't click, right? So it's like square signs talking to each other. It's like, well, we're trying to get each other, but it takes some butting of heads to really be able to function well together. Now, certain people, certain signs might actually enjoy this kind of conflict though, because there's some people who like I'm thinking like Aries or like Sagittarius, or like, you know, the fire signs can be, or like Gemini, like Aquarius. There's certain signs that will like this square, or people that have a dominance of like those energies, because it's exciting and it's like never a dull moment because of the differences, because of the conflicts. Like there are certain people who prefer to be in a relationship where they're being challenged, or you know, it's not this like comfy cozy always settled feeling. Like it's more dynamic, it's more growth oriented, and that's what you're going to get with this aspect. Now with like the rest of the synastry, hopefully there would be some other things that are showing like more similarity and compatibility, then this will, like I said, not be such a big deal. But if there is like a lot of other conflicting aspects, and then you have this aspect, it's like you will just not see the point of doing it. So yeah. What else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'd love to know your experience of this aspect. If you've had it in Synastry, what was your experience? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for the requests, you guys. Keep those requests coming, and we'll talk soon.